What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into, of course, tonight's game. And as I was going into the last video, because I think it's very important, the playoff ramifications of that game. So, tonight, we did have the Seahawks winning here because I thought it did not make sense. And yes, they still can get in the playoffs losing tonight, but as I pointed out in my last video, not only did I not see them making the playoffs, but I just didn't think they would knock them out this soon. But it looks like they are. Again, they still have a path, but I think it would require some improbable things and some giveaways. For example, they would absolutely need to beat the Jets, which would mean the Jets can't lose this week. So there's just things that have to happen that I don't see happening. And that's what makes this week, in my opinion, so interesting, because it really is the last week for a lot of these teams. Here's one right here. Again, the Vegas odds. I went over this when I went over the NFC East. The reason I have the NFC East getting in the playoffs. It's the path to the playoffs. So, we're going to get games wrong. We got the Chargers, we got the Patriots, we missed the Seahawks. Then that's what's going to happen. We're not going to have every single team with a read. But overall, we're going to be able to see where they're getting at. And to me, again, the Raiders here just make sense. And I'll go into all the NFL games. But the Raiders ran some parallels with some other teams. They run some parallels with the Packers and some other teams that I noticed. But that is what I found interesting, like I said. And it's not to be, we were wrong tonight, so it's not to be braggadocious, but nothing's changed. Our playoff predictions have remained the same because the teams that shouldn't win aren't winning. So now with that Seahawks loss, as I was explaining, they are going to need, it doesn't matter who wins the Commanders-Giants game. So now we go to week 16, and here's where it gets interesting. Do they win in Kansas City? They could, sure. And are both the Commanders and Giants going to lose? I have them all losing, you can see. So it's just a really hard case here to get them in. Whereas the Raiders don't need much. They need that upset. But not to go much into that, I just wanted to show people, because a lot of people are, wondering why this team might win, or, a couple people are asking me, well, if you have the Niners winning the Super Bowl, then why do you have Seattle winning tonight? And just because I have a team winning the Super Bowl doesn't mean I think they're going to run the table. But they did do good tonight, so the Niners won. And speaking of, as I said, this has been something I've had to keep where only people that actually follow the system and support the channel and aren't from other channels can see it. But even with, so I decided to close out the Seahawks one, as you can see. So that's a 7-unit loss. And again, I get so many messages from people saying, I love the system, I just have to stop chasing. And that's what I keep telling people. This is not your standard chase system. If it was, we would not have. We would have been broke by the third week. Okay, that's why if you watch my playlist, we never chase. We will sometimes do a leg 4. It's never even came to a leg 5, but that's why we don't chase. We cashed the Grizz, the Heat. We just continued to follow them, and they cashed. And we got the Mavs in play for tomorrow. And then yesterday, of course, Louisville 0-9 against the spread. Any team, anything like that, you're going to hit. We got the Magic, Pacers, all these ones where nobody was going to have, in my opinion at least, the Pacers against the Warriors. I don't think that. I believe they played the Warriors. I just don't see that. So we missed the Heat, as you can see yesterday, but we got them tonight. We missed the Mavs, hoping to get them tomorrow. So we actually picked up, if you added up 7 we picked up 7 units and lost 7 units. So it's a push with Seattle. So I decided it's definitely better to close it out than to try and wager another 8 units. But that's just the way I do it. There are people that insist on chasing, and I'm not going to tell people how to bet. So that's where we're doing as far as that. So the basketball came in good over the last couple days, and now we have, in my opinion, a really good idea on the playoffs. So sure, Seattle could beat the Jets. Again, what that does do is it makes Week 18 irrelevant. So Week 18 is going to be very interesting. My opinion on Tua on the road. But yeah, I just wanted to do a recap. Now we have, in my opinion, I think it's confirmation that It's not a coincidence. I've been saying this for the longest time. There were prop bets people could have made on these teams, and maybe they don't get in, but I think they do. It's not a coincidence that they added a seventh seed, and now you have, the ability for 4 teams in the NFC East to get in. If you watch my last video, not my last one, but it's like a month ago, I went into how they just kept pushing this NFC Beast narrative. Only they were pushing it more on the AFC side, like they wanted us to pay attention to the Patriots and not as much the Commanders. And that's the kind of stuff they do. So, yeah, I like the Raiders even more to win now, just looking at things, because, again, I looked at my book today. Vegas, they're right in the middle. They should be, like, way towards the bottom. It's just odd. So, yeah, I just wanted to go into everything, the sequences, and what I believe it means. It doesn't change much, as I said. I think it just means certain teams are definitely going to win. For example, this week we have the Jets Lions. To me it makes sense that now you can argue, well, the Lions, if they win, they're in the playoff picture, sure, but they play the Packers, I'm pretty sure, and the Packers are going to be the one that gets pushed. So I think I was just with the wrong horse, because this is something I found very interesting. If we look at how these teams finish out, I had a joke earlier this season that once he started selling, Rodgers was going to finish just outside of the playoffs. So that could be what happens, is instead of the Seattle being the team that people are flirting with, making that 7th seed, it could very well be Green Bay, which makes more sense. There's way more interest in Green Bay than there is in Seattle. So now that Seattle lost to San Francisco, and they made a point of presenting them as a team that's not going to come out and look like a playoff team, I think it'll be very interesting to watch Green Bay going forward. I didn't do basketball for one day. Today I didn't do basketball. I am a human. And I posted my picks in my Discord, and I'm getting messages like, oh, this is unacceptable. I can't believe this. The world's coming to an end. So just for the people that need their binge, I will go into some games tomorrow. To me, again, these are not rocket science games. That's why with the NBA, we were hitting at a ridiculous pace. Now, I'm not saying everyone is going to hit, but I'm going to go into the ESPN games right now. If you look, it just makes sense to me that the Sixers cover here. Again, they are forcing that the Warriors suck on the road, and now they're playing a playoff team on the road, and I just don't think it's a coincidence. So they are pushing that they suck without Steph. I can see the public fading them. I just don't think they're fading them to the tune of, I think last I saw, my book had them around 8 points. So I don't think they're going to get faded that hard. And again, could simply, while the Warriors are hurt, they did this last year, and they even talked about how scripts are going to basically be the same. These teams have said that. Oh, yeah, we got the same script as last year. Well, the Warriors starting off a little slow, especially on the road, and I think they lose in a convincing fashion. To me, makes sense, as you have the Sixers looking strong. And there's only one other open sequence, and that's Dallas. Ironically, the team at the beginning of the year, my team to win the West, or at least play the Clippers in the West, it's going to be very close. And my team to win the division is playing Dallas. So, it's very easy for me to want to pick Portland, but I am going to take Dallas to cover. What I will say is wait until the lines close, because the ESPN line might close around 2.5, and there's a lot of clips. But yeah, I'm just playing the metric here. We have the literal best team in the league against the spread versus the literal worst team in the league against the spread. So I like Dallas covering. So for the people that are very, they don't know what to do, if there's like one day I can't get picks out, it's simple things like that. If you see a game that looks like a trap, there's a decent chance it's a trap. I mean, it's not that complicated. There's not a lot of spreads out right now, right here. I could be wrong. It just seems to me like more people are going to be taking the Pacers +7. I have really barely looked into this game, so, I'm not saying 100% lock this one in. I do like the Dallas one to lock in. I already locked it in. But this, I'm just telling you at a glance, it kind of jumps out at me that Cleveland is giving up 7 points. A lot of people are going to like the upset value for the Pacers. So when I see things like that, I find it interesting. So here I like Cleveland to cover. So that's what for basketball, what I do. I don't go into I can't even tell you who's starting on most occasions. It's really numbers, metrics, sticking to the system, and that's why we've done so well. That's why we're up 211 units, and probably a few more now because we were at 211 and we pushed this loss. Yeah, we're probably around like 214 units, and maybe that's why I'm getting all these messages simply about the Discord, but it's all right. I mean, I want people in the Discord, but again, it's so we can spread positivity and get good picks out there for the right cause. But yeah, so Dallas is my main play tomorrow. That's a leg 3. And like I said, just following the trend is really what's going to help. And that's going to help with the NFL specifically. When you see the Raiders here who just have not looked good, and now they're just somehow in it, and they're really only a game away from actually being striking distance in the playoffs. To me, they win this game. And you can say, well, you had the same logic with Seattle. Well, I did. The difference here is I don't think New England's even getting in the playoffs. I don't think they're a playoff team. So that's the difference. It's not like they're a team. Because people were saying, well, yeah, I see what you're saying. But how do you convincingly have the Niners lose? So that's a good point. You guys were right on that. But in this case, with the Raiders-Patriots, you can definitely convincingly have the Patriots get beat. So anyone that just wants to lock in, I know some people like to lock in parlays early. I don't know why. It's still 3 days away. But anyone wanting to lock in an NFL game, the Raiders just make sense to me. Watch them. I could see them making a run. And then for future bets, the NFC East is all getting in the playoffs. I don't know how many times I have to say it. People still don't think the Commanders or Giants are going to get in. That's fair. To me, they gave it away a long time ago. But this one's going to be interesting, and Mavs, another one where I think people are going to be all over the Blazers, and now they should be on the Blazers. People are finally starting to see what I saw at the beginning of the year, but this is when you're going to see Luka not sell, and then the Mavericks come through. So yeah, this will be a leg 3. Anything else is going to be a first leg, of course, and I'll be looking at the other games as well. So take care, everybody.